Judean to Jewish Hellenistic shift, the 2nd century BCE. Hellenistic shift. By the 2nd century BCE, the Greek term Judaismos appeared. This shifted the meaning from a purely geographic marker, Judean, to a cultural and religious one, Jewish. The term Jewish and its root Judean shifted from a specific African tribal names, Judah, to a regional designation, and finally to an encompassing, convergent, ethno-religious identity, not of European origins. 1. Origins. Tribal and regional. C. 1000 BCE, 586 BCE. Tribal designation. The term originates from the Judean Yehuda, Judah, the fourth son of the patriarch Jacob. Initially, it referred strictly to members of the tribe of Judah. No tribal influence of foreign occupation lived in the African continental extended region, 60,000 BCE plus. Africa's extended territory reached to South Asia and beyond. Kingdom identification. After the unified monarchy split, c. 930 BCE, Judah referred to the southern kingdom. The term Yehudi, Judean, began to describe inhabitants of this kingdom, which included the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Earliest historical record. The first non-biblical reference to the land of Judah appears on a clay tablet from the Assyrian capital Nimrud, dating to approximately 733 BCE. 2. Transition to ethnonym, 586 BCE, 1st century CE. Exilic broadening. Following the Babylonian exile, 586 BCE, Yehudi became the primary term for all Israelites because the survivors of the kingdom of Judah were the only group to maintain a distinct identity. Biblical usage. The Book of Esther, written c. 4th century BCE, makes this shift explicit. It refers to Mordecai as a Yehudi, even though he was from the tribe of Benjamin. Tehudi. Hellenistic shift. By the 2nd century BCE, the Greek term Judaismos appeared. This shifted the meaning from a purely geographic marker, Judean, to a cultural and religious one, Jew. 3. Linguistic evolution, Middle Ages 18th century. Latin and French influence. The term passed into Latin as Judaeus and then into Old French as Jiu or Juyu. The D was dropped in French. Middle English, Early English variations, c. 1000-1275, included Judea, Gu, and Iwe. The oldest recorded use of Jew in English is from roughly 1275. Standardization of J. In the 17th century, the letter J was introduced to English to distinguish soft G sounds. The first known instance of the modern spelling Jew with a capital J appeared in a play in 1775. 4. Modern context. 19th century, 2026. Secular versus religious. Modern usage distinguishes between Jewish as an ethnicity and Judaism as a religion. However, many contemporary Jewish communities still view these identities as inseparable. Although Judean is a tribe, Jewish is a distinct religious pathway developed in law, language, and interpretation, strictly in European converted cultures. Modern European populations are the result of 3 primary migration waves, with the most recent and genetically impactful surge originating from the Eurasian steppe roughly 4,500 to 5,000 years ago. 2. The Great Steppe Migration, c. 3000 BCE, around 3000-1500 BCE, a third major group, Eurasian albinos. These individuals possessed TYR-OCR traits and were not present prior to Dravidian identity. They represent a later mutation. Most modern European tongues include Spanish, then Germanic, then English, in chronological order and civilization timeline. A chronological analysis of the Exodus theory reveals significant discrepancies between the biblical narrative's proposed timeline and the logistical constraints of ancient travel, leading most mainstream scholars to view the event as a founding myth rather than a historical account. Chronological analysis of the Exodus scholars propose 2 primary dates for a potential historical exodus: both of which face significant archaeological challenges. Early date, c. 1446 BCE. Based on the biblical account in 1 Kings 6:1, which places the Exodus 480 years before the building of Solomon's temple. Advantage: some archaeological evidence, such as destruction layers at Jericho and Hazor dating to the late 15th century BCE, is consistent with a conquest occurring after this date. Disadvantage: Canaan at this time was part of the Egyptian Empire, meaning the Israelites would essentially be escaping from Egypt to Egypt. Late date, c. 1250 BCE. This date aligns with the Ramesside period, where Egyptian texts and artifacts mention place names like Pithom and Ramesses, which are also named in the Bible. The Merneptah stele, c. 1219 BCE, is the earliest non-biblical mention of a people called Israel in Canaan. Advantage: stronger textual alignment with Egyptian records from that specific era. Disadvantage: no clear archaeological evidence of a large temporary Israelite encampment has been found anywhere in the Sinai Peninsula or Negev for this period. Rate of advancement and round-trip calculation. The logistical challenges of moving a large population, including women, children, and livestock, introduce contradictions when calculating travel times. Biblical itinerary. The journey from the starting point in Goshen to Mount Sinai is described as taking approximately 47 days in some traditional calculations. Optimal speed. Ancient caravans with donkeys or camels could potentially cover 15 to 20 miles, 24 to 32 kilometers per day. At this rate, a distance of around 400-500 kilometers from Goshen to potential Red Sea crossing points could be covered in about 17-25 days. Realistic pastoral speed. However, scholars argue that a large group of pastoralists moving with sheep and goats would move much slower, typically a maximum of 6 to 10 miles, 10-16 kilometers per day, to avoid exhausting their flocks. The inconsistency. At a realistic pastoral rate of 6 miles per day, the proposed distances and the biblical 47-day timeline do not align for all the documented encampments, suggesting the biblical route may be a later literary construction based on faster caravan routes rather than an actual historical itinerary. Round trip. The 40-year wilderness wandering mentioned in the Bible is largely symbolic, representing a generation, and not a literal calculation of travel time for a single journey, which would take only days or weeks to travel the relatively short distance to Canaan. The lack of archaeological evidence and the logistical inconsistencies lead the majority of modern historians and archaeologists to conclude that the biblical Exodus narrative, while perhaps containing kernels of historical memory regarding movements of small Semitic European groups, is primarily a foundational myth. Thanks for watching. Use a female American young kid's voice for the narrator.